Star is Born is the third remake of the original A Star is Born film starring Janet Gaynor from 1937, and out of all the remakes, this one is a little bit more closely related to the most recent one with Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson. A rock star named Jackson Maine, played by Bradley Cooper, is a big success in the industry. A lot of people love him. Unfortunately, he has a big problem with alcoholism. One night, though, he finds this undiscovered talent named Allie, played by Lady Gaga. So they start to hang out a bit more and start up their own romance, and Jackson Maine decides to help her become the star that she deserves to be. So very similar to the other three versions of this film before. Obviously, all of them have their own little differences if you've seen them before, which I have. I took the time to see every version before seeing this film. I really enjoy the 1937 one. That's a really good one, but my favorite absolutely is the Judy Garland one from 1954. I really adore that film. It's quite excellent. Barbra Streisand's, though, not a big fan. Not a big fan of that one at all. I think they really mishandled that production and instead made it just a Barbra Streisand vanity show as opposed to actually telling a great story. And as I mentioned earlier, this film is a little bit more closely related to the Barbra Streisand one. So I didn't really see this film as just another soulless remake in a long thread of remakes. I saw this as Bradley Cooper kind of trying to make amends for that film because there's definitely a lot of potential in that version. Each film is kind of like a perfect encapsulation of the decade that they came out. So I saw this movie as just Bradley Cooper trying to take what ideas they had with that 70s version and just making it not only more modern with the 2018 days, but also just making it as great as it possibly could be. And that's exactly what this film was. This is outstanding. It can be really hard to watch a fourth version of what is essentially a similar plot and still love it. But I did. I adored this film. Bradley Cooper, huge round of applause for him. He is so talented. Not only can he act really well in comedies and also dramas, but now he proves that he's a great singer and director and also writer as well. Jesus Christ, he is so multi-talented, it's amazing. And of course, Lady Gaga playing this character, not a lot of people would probably take that chance, but Bradley Cooper did. As a director, he took a chance on her, and she actually delivers an outstanding performance. She is so good here. Everything that people are saying about her is true. And I've seen her before in American Horror Story Hotel, and I thought she was fine there. So when I heard that she was going to be in this film, I was a little bit more iffy about it. I didn't know what to think. She blew me away. Like, she really exceeded my expectations here. Like, she's so good. She really does deserve a Best Actress nomination. But of course, so does Bradley Cooper, because his performance, it's unrecognizable. Like, I was watching it and I knew that it was Bradley Cooper, but there were so many times where I was just taken away and I just looked at him as Jackson Maine, this character that they made. Like, his performance just really transformed himself. And this is honestly his best performance because he just became a completely different person in front of everyone in the audience. And his character is so funny yet tragic and sentimental and just so likable too that you can't help but just be really taken in by his performance as well. He really does deserve a Best Actor nomination too. Both of these guys, Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, are so fantastic in this film. Some of my favorite performances of the entire year, and their chemistry is so spot on. They really do feel like they have an actual romance going. Like, that's how natural it all feels. Seeing how their romance develops in this film was just so beautiful. And I love how, even though this film has been done before, Bradley Cooper was able to find a way to make you see this film in a whole new light as well. He took certain things and changed it up to deliver a better impact and to stand out as their own definitive version. I really adore that about this movie. There's a few changes that really just struck at my heart, really. Like, a lot of stuff near the end as well kind of got to me. There's one certain shot that's one of those shots where it cuts to it and you're not quite sure what you're supposed to look at, but then you kind of look around and you're like, oh, that's what I'm looking at. It's honestly one of my favorite shots of the entire year. Just so much is being said with that one shot. Like, when you see the movie, you'll know exactly which one I'm talking about. There's so many great cinematography moments here as well, and the concert sequences are so well filmed and so well edited. The sound mixing just for the music and also certain moments of tinnitus that Bradley Cooper has, very well done. This movie sounds excellent. It's so well edited in that regard. If I had to nitpick about the editing, I'd say that there's a couple shots, like a couple edits that they do that kind of took me out as far as just continuity wise, and also there's one part where they're doing like a one take, but then they cut to like a far away shot, but then they cut back to that one take shot they were doing. So that was a little distracting. Other than that, I think this movie is edited really flawlessly. There's one moment near the end of editing that I adore so much, and it's one of those reasons why when the film was starting to come to a close, it just kind of hit me. And of course, this is coming from the guy who's seen the other 3 installments, but even then I was still getting a little teary-eyed when it started to come to the ending of this movie, because like I said earlier, Bradley Cooper was able to find a way to make you feel like you were watching something completely brand new with this film. A couple other performances I liked. Andrew Dice Clay as Lady Gaga's dad. I think he was great here. He had a really great comedic supporting role as well, but also a really dramatic one whenever they needed him. And Dave Chappelle, he's more known for comedy, but in this film he actually is a little bit more serious. He's not in the film a whole lot, but while he's there, it's like, yeah, he's a really great actor, and I'd love to see him do like more dramas in the future. And he did have a couple moments of humor in this film, obviously, but when he's really focusing up on the drama aspect, I really liked him, and I want to see him do more dramas, honestly. And Sam Elliott, Jesus Christ, I really do want him to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He's such a great character, the way he and Bradley Cooper interact, their story together since they're brothers, and seeing how their relationship kind of evolves later on in the film, it's just really beautiful, and Sam Elliott really captures a great sense of sentimentality. And of course, everyone wants to hear it. How was the music in this film? How's the soundtrack? Because the 30s one wasn't a musical, but the Judy Garland one is, and then for the Streisand one, they didn't use any songs from that movie. Same thing with this one, it's all original works. How are they? Spectacular. They're all fantastic songs. There's a couple intentionally bad ones thrown in there for plot reasons, but other than those ones, which is once again intentionally in there, and it's still funny to kind of see, every single song in this film just had me really latched onto it. And honestly, they gave me a lanyard at the screening at AMC with like a code to download all the songs on my computer, and as soon as Friday came, when they actually let you download it, I did it in the morning and listened to a couple before I had to go to school. Like, it's that addictive of a soundtrack, and I'm so glad that I have. There's so many great songs here. There's so many options for the Oscars to pick like Best Original Song. Like, it's gonna be tough, but any song they pick, it'll be great, because every single song in here is pretty much great. The only real other flaw I had with this film is a little bit of a spoiler, sorta. I won't say exactly what it is, but if you've seen the other ones, then you'll immediately know what I'm talking about, so mild spoiler warning here. So my other flaw, besides from those camera cuts that I mentioned earlier on, which is very minor, like that rarely kind of happen, but there was one shot of symbolism. It was like a foreshadowing moment, and I was like, okay, like I've seen the other version, so this just kind of, that's kind of too obvious, a little too on the nose with that. And once again, this could just be because I've seen the other version. Some people who haven't seen the other versions and are just seeing this one for the first time might not even pick up on it, but for me, it just kind of, I noticed it and I was like, I'm not a big fan of that. That's a little too much, but other than that, those are really small flaws that I mentioned. I adore this film. It took me on a really beautiful ride that had me almost weeping near the end. I was very teary-eyed. My sister and mother were definitely crying. I'm gonna give A Star Is Born an A, though it's not my favorite version of these A Star Is Born movies. That's the Judy Garland one forever. This is still such a beautiful movie that's so well made by Bradley Cooper and so well acted by him and Lady Gaga, Sam Elliott, Andrew Dice Clay, all these people. This is just such a well-made movie, such a great remake as well. And it continues that tradition of taking this beautiful story and encapsulating a lot of things that are common in this decade and making the story feel brand new and evolving it. And I adore this film for doing that. It's a little early on in Oscar season, but I really do think this movie deserves a lot of Best Picture recognition, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Original Song, all of it. It's just such a great movie. Go see it at once. I know Venom kicked its ass, but please make this movie have better staying power, because that's the movie that deserves your money the most. Not a soulless corporate movie, like a beautiful story told from the heart. But if you've seen A Star Is Born, leave in the comments below what you thought of it, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.